Coming up on October's edition of the CANdid Connection, Andrew spent some time talking about what's been happening in Lansing, including the conclusion of the state budget and where things landed there. He also spent some time with Ashley to chat about what happened in DC, and that leads into our asks and what we worked on for Leadership Summit and Lobby Day. We're really excited for our guests this month as we welcome 4 ACT leads from here in Michigan: CJ Heisler, Sandra Westover, Adrian Meyer, and Beth Trierweiler. And they spend time talking with us about their experiences at Leadership Summit Lobby Day and share some stories from Lobby Days past. So I am Andrew Shepers, along with Ashley Hall. This is the CANdid Connection. Well, here we are. It's October. Happy October, Ashley. How are you?
I'm good. I can't believe it's October 2021, but I'm wonderful.
I know. It's so quick. And, I'm not going to lie. This is one of my favorite times of the year.
Me too.
I love fall. I love that the sun shines, that there's colors in the trees, right? And, you don't have to wear shorts and a t-shirt because it's 90 some odd degrees out. I mean, it's just, I'm so happy for the cooler weather coming back in.
Yes, my Michigan soul cries out for fall every year. And last weekend, I got the chance to go to a Spartan homecoming football game in East Lansing. So felt like home. It was wonderful.
Yes. Oh man, we watched it here in our neighborhood, and absolutely had an awesome time. But it's just, it's tailgating,
exactly.
like that again. It's nice to finally be able to do some stuff outside where it's not so hot, and it's just, things are changing. So, but unfortunately, the bad side of it, the days get shorter, and
it's so dark. It's dark at like 7:30 now.
I know. So I do miss the sun. I wish I could find a place where it's sun most of the time, but yet not 90 degrees. I mean, that would be great, but
if only.
I know. Well, speaking of, now that we're back in the fall, the legislature here in Michigan is back at it too.
They're back.
As they kind of went through a couple weeks in September and then really started hitting their stride again in October. And man, I got to tell you, a lot has been happening. And with that, one of the things that the legislature finally got done under the wire was passing the budget, which was a feat, I think, all its own. I know the legislature and the governor had been working throughout the summer, and actually blew by their statutory requirement of having it done by July 1, but finally got it done here in the last couple of weeks of September. And a lot of good things in there, but it's missing one thing, isn't it, Ashley?
It is.
Yeah. So unfortunately, the issue that we've been talking about, adding an additional $200,000 to help the quit line here in Michigan, did not make it in the budget. And so, one, very disappointed, right? I think that, once again, folks in the legislature are just saying that, tobacco prevention, tobacco, tobacco work, tobacco, trying to do things to make sure that we're pulling this away from our kids and helping people quit that want to quit, really just kind of went to the wayside once again. And it's really unfortunate in terms of what happened. But, we're not done yet, right? And we've got that supplemental budget process, which we've already started discussions around. And so
Mhm.
here in the next couple months, we'll get our advocates up and engaged again in talking about why we need this funding, why it's important. And so be on the lookout for some action alerts or opportunities to really engage with your members around tobacco prevention funding.
Yeah, absolutely. Our ACT leads are raring and ready to go to work on, a lot of this tobacco prevention, because it is so important for our state, and they're ready to give it to them. So I'm excited.
That's right. Yeah. So look for that. Look for that here in the next few weeks. But tobacco's really kind of taken a front seat here a little bit, and so we've got some things happening at the state level, which have been in the works for a little while, but are really kind of culminating in terms of rising up to the point of needing attention. And the first one deals with flavors around e-cigarettes. And so, those that have been engaged with us for the past couple of years know that when Governor Whitmer came into office, one of the first things she did was create an emergency rule set that would ban flavored e-cigarettes in Michigan. And with that, it meant a judicial challenge, which I think we all knew was going to happen. And actually, the governor lost that challenge, and through the appeals process and whatnot, lost her challenge in terms of putting those emergency rules in place. And so now we're finally to a point where a permanent rule set, going through its process as prescribed, is now coming to the Joint Committee on Administrative Rules, which is really the final step before these rules are either enacted and put into place, or are essentially voted down by members of the legislature who review these rules. But then it would force the legislature to do some type of legislative remedy and have that introduced within a certain amount of time after they make a decision. And so, here in the first couple weeks of October, there's going to be some action and movement on that. It's these rules are, I think, in our opinion, a great start. But we know to be effective, we need to go after all products, not just e-cigarettes. And so, menthol has entrapped a lot of people in terms of using traditional cigarettes, mint flavors and chew tobacco and that, and in those different veins. And so, we would really hope that those rules would have gone farther. But we'll see what happens early on here in October. And when you meet with us again in November, hopefully we'll have an update on that in terms of what's going on with that. But at the same time, I think, listeners that have been with us for the past year, almost coming up to 2 years now, one of the big things we've been talking about was a package of bills in the Senate that deals with tobacco regulations here in Michigan, focuses on e-cigarettes, creates their own taxation level, provides some type of licensure for for tobacco retailers. And I think the probably best thing I can say about this package is that it's an okay start, right? And we know that there are leaps and bounds have to be made in this package to really ensure that we're going to get the public health impact that we need. And so, Michigan, I think all of still continues to reside in Tobacco Nation. And so, we are high utilizers of these products, and we really need to find a way to make that impact. And having these bills not go far enough to make the impact that I think lawmakers are thinking they're going to make really is a detriment to the end of the day. So,
yeah, it's a good place to start, but there's a lot of work that needs to be done.
yeah, that's right. And I think one of the big things we're scared about is that if these bills were to pass and there's so much work, it'll take so long to get us into a position where we can go ahead and make those changes that do need to happen. And so we're looking for some action with that. I know groups like ourselves and others have been sending communications into the administration and into the Senate on things that are our opinions, why we're opposed, what we feel would be a better solution, things of that nature. And to some it's on deaf ears, let's be real. I think that there are some that are not really serious about doing what has to be done. But I think that there are some who are really interested and want to do some great work around it. They just don't understand the hurdles and the landscape associated with that. So, with that, more to come. I think that as the flavor rules in this package kind of move back and forth, I think they're going to be somewhat connected, which I think may be a little troublesome, but we'll see what happens on in early October with this. Last thing, and I think that we all kind of understand the power of local government, right? And Michigan is a smoke-free state in our workplaces and bars and restaurants and whatnot. But what I don't think a lot of people understand or realize is that started at the local level.
Yeah.
And so now we've got there are organizations locally in a couple areas in Michigan that are really interested in addressing this flavor issue. And it's not just cigarettes or e-cigarettes, but it's all products, and really finding ways to take those flavored tobacco products out of their city, which I think is wonderful. And it could be the start of something here in Michigan that if we get enough municipalities on board, hopefully we can kind of build that momentum to do something on a state level. So, it'll be interesting to see what happens there. But again, a lot of stuff in its infancy, and kudos to those groups working hard to try to go ahead and bring those up. So, moving away from tobacco, oral chemo fairness has really been our other big issue here. I know we talk about it almost every episode, if not every episode, in terms of what's happening. And so, and things have been happening, and we, myself, along with my counterpart from the Leukemia Lymphoma Society, have been meeting one-on-one with committee members, and gauging their interest, providing ourselves as resource to answer questions and providing information in terms of what our bill does, House Bill 4354, and why it's important for people here in Michigan. But this is not just a big issue for us; it's really big for our volunteers too, isn't it, Ashley?
Oh, it is one of the most passionate areas where they just get, it's really personal, the equity involved with oral chemo. And, Andrew, you showed me yesterday, how long have we been working on getting oral chemo passed? We have that countdown. It's like 5,000 days.
Yeah, that's right. It's been over 5,000 days. And actually, if you look down to the bottom of the screen here, for those watching, but also listening to, head to fightcancer.org/fairness. You can find our webpage. It really talks about the work that we've been doing, but we have a count up clock on that. And so it's 5,200 days plus that we've been waiting for this to happen. And so, but if you go to that site, if it's something you're interested in, an issue you're passionate about, this is a great area to go and get some resources, to go talk to your lawmakers. So again, head to fightcancer.org/fairness, and you can go ahead and get information there. But yeah, it's just, it's been on and on and on, but we had some good positive conversations over the past few months where I really feel like the support is there. It's just really getting that timing down and making sure that we've got it timed out right. So I would look for that. Let's knock on wood. If I were to look at my crystal ball, hopefully before the holiday break, hopefully some type of action would happen. So um
It's about time.
I know it is. It's been long enough. And so but as things kind of move here in Michigan, things are also moving in DC.
Yes, they are.
As folks continue to watch the news, they were able to keep the government open, which is a positive thing. That only gets us to December, though. But we also have to look at, they've got a debt ceiling question they've got to answer. But one of the real big things that's been in the news, and something that actually ACS CAN has been engaged in a little bit, is the human infrastructure package, or that reconciliation package that that the president is asking for, and is really kind of the big holdup here. And so, one of the big things that happened during COVID was that they expanded subsidies for those to get on the Affordable Care Act. And so, but they didn't make those permanent. They only made them until the end of, boy, help me out, Ashley, next year? Is it
Yes,
the end
yeah,
of next
and
year?
end of 2022. And Andrew, over 2 million people actually took advantage of that. So there were a lot of people who got health care during a health crisis because of these tax credits. And they're just so important, to keep around.
Yeah. And so, our big push, especially during our leadership summit lobby day, which we're going to chat about that
Yes.
coming up here in a little bit. Our guest this week, I'm going to leave it a surprise, but it really truly impacted with Leadership Summit Live Day, so we're excited to have them on. We chatter about that, and it's critically important for cancer patients, or just for everybody, right? I think if you hear cancer for the first time and don't have health insurance, it's a really scary situation.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
So we've been working on that, following that a little bit. We'll continue our work around that to ensure that we can get some of those ACA tax credits included, to be permanent in that reconciliation package. But my guess is as good as yours, Ashley, in terms of when this moves. Right? Like it could be tomorrow, it could be December.
Yeah, I don't think a smart person would try to predict what's going to happen in DC.
No, no, I think you're absolutely right. You are absolutely right. But we'll be monitoring that and looking for that. If you have more questions, feel free. Always head to our website at fightcancer.org/MI. That's where we have information that things that are happening here in the state, and but also on a federal level, and things that we're engaged in. So again, head to that fightcancer.org/MI to get more information. Uh, Finally, on a federal level, we've been working on detection and testing, which we all know having access to testing is a huge form of prevention and preventative care that we can give folks. And we know we find cancer sooner, we can fight cancer better, right?
Absolutely.
And so, one of the things we're working on now is a bill that would provide access to testing, and it's called the Multi-Cancer Early Detection Screening Coverage Act.
Yes.
That's a big mouthful.
It is.
But essentially, what it would do is that it would cover some of these tests that are coming out now. You know, Similar to biomarker tests, something we've been talking about before,
Yeah.
where a simple blood test would be able to test for multiple different forms of cancer, and really provide, physicians, researchers, whatever, the ability to better diagnose and better treat cancer. And so, we this is something that we've been hugely supportive of, and really have been asking our delegation here in Michigan to sign up to be co-sponsors. And so, again, we had a leadership summit lobby day, and this is one of the issues that we talked about. And kudos to our to our volunteers. They've really pushed hard to get our senators and congressmen, men and women, signed on to these bills, didn't they?
Oh, yes, they did. And you know what? They were successful in a couple of cases.
Okay, great. Yeah. So who's coming on board from Michigan?
Yeah, so Senator Debbie Stabenow has decided to come on as a co-sponsor for the Medicare Multi-Cancer Early Detection Screening Act. And we just got word yesterday that Congressman Andy Levin is also going to join on as a co-sponsor. So that's 2 in Michigan. We're still looking for more, and we'd love some more lawmakers to sign on.
Yeah, so it's it's huge. It's huge that Congressman Levin and Senator Stabenow have taken the lead. Thank you for your leadership. We'll say that right here. Thank you so much. And we're excited that they did sign on, and are supporting those efforts. But here after the break, we're going to be chatting a little bit about some of those things with our guests coming up. About Leadership Summit Lobby Day. So stay tuned for that. But one other thing I just want to pass along here, I think, just to pull back on a side here, if we didn't take a few minutes to recognize someone who was working in the Michigan legislature, who is a huge cancer advocate and actually our cancer caucus co-chair for this term. But unfortunately, we lost State Representative Andrea Schroeder, early here in October, as she lost her battle to stomach cancer, and so her story, just how during the middle of her campaign, she's diagnosed with stomach cancer, undergoes treatment for stomach cancer, and continues to campaign. Like just an amazing story, and how in the statement we put out when we heard of her passing, I mentioned her being a true example of a servant leader, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I really felt like she fit that definition. And always putting the needs of her constituents above her own, especially when her cancer came back and she had to go back into treatment again, still doing working hard work for her constituents in the 43rd district. So, we just want to offer our condolences to her family, and to her office staff, right? There are people that are working in that office too to assist her, and also those to the 43rd district. I think it's a real tough day, when a servant leader moves on, but just I think a shock, and sadness for all of us, but we just the gratitude in her effort to continue to keep cancer issues on the forefront, and really make sure that those facing cancer are getting all that they need. We just couldn't ask for a better advocate. So again, thank you, Representative Schroeder, for all of your hard work, and you will be truly missed in the legislature. So well, with that, here after the break, we're going to welcome our guests, and we'll be chatting about Leadership Summit Lobby Day and their experiences and things we learned and didn't learn. So join us after the break. This is the CANdid Connection.
At Carmanis, we specialize in providing cancer care that you can't get anywhere else. Because we're home to one of the largest clinical trials programs in the country, only Carmanis can give you access to more than 250 of the most innovative and promising cancer treatments available. And with locations across Michigan and virtual visits, we offer easy and safe access to the expertise and guidance of your cancer team. We do all of this for one reason: to give you your best chance.
Welcome back. So I don't know if you all know this, and I know we talked about it a little bit on our last show, Ashley, but the last week of September was a real big week for us here at ACS CAN. And we had a pretty big event going on, didn't we?
We did. So the last week of September, we had our Leadership Summit and Lobby Day. This is usually where volunteers head to DC and actually, go on the Hill to lobby their congressional members and senators for, the different bills that we think are really important. But this year we did it virtually.
That's right. Yeah. And this is year 2 for us,
it is.
Where, over 600 volunteers from around the country virtually made their way to Washington, D.C. to meet with their lawmakers. And we had talked about a couple of those issues early on, when we talked a little bit about the Affordable Care Act, making sure those tax credits continue to stay and putting that in the social welfare infrastructure bill, but also dealing with talking about the Medicaid, multi-cancer, early detection
and screening
act. There it is. Yes, thank you. Yeah, and so the folks joining us today had the opportunity to meet with their lawmakers, and truth be told, made a wonderful impact in terms of making sure that issues that cancer patients are facing really came to light. So, we're excited to welcome 4 volunteers here from Michigan. And first is Sandra Westover. Sandra is our lead volunteer from Michigan's 1st Congressional District, which is retired General Jack Bergman. And so, we're excited that Sandra's here, and she's been a volunteer with us for quite some time now. Also joining us, we're kind of making our way clockwise around the state. We're welcoming Adrian Meyer. She's from Michigan's 5th Congressional District, and so she spent a lot of time over the past couple of years working with Representative Kildee. But Adrian has a really interesting story. Out of all the volunteers here, she's never experienced an in-person event in Washington, D.C. So knock on wood, hopefully next year we can get there. Also joining us is CJ Heisler. CJ's in Michigan's 7th Congressional District. And, as all of us in Michigan know, that is Mr. Tim Wahlberg. And so CJ has spent countless hours with the congressman and his staff working on issues, and truly has made an impact from where Tim started to where he is today. And so, maybe if we have an opportunity, maybe CJ will be able to share that story with us about kind of where the congressman has come to today. And then finally joining us is our Deputy State Lead Ambassador, Beth Trierweiler. And Beth is actually in Michigan's 3rd Congressional District, and she spent a lot of time with Congressman Amash back in the day. And I say time because I don't think she had an opportunity to meet with the congressman in this entire time he was there. Maybe one trip, and so, but now she's our Deputy State Lead Ambassador, so really kind of working with our senators and helping out where she can. But it's exciting in her district because she has a new rep with Congressman Meyer, and so a great opportunity to really create a relationship there. So everyone, thank you for taking the time to join us today. We really do appreciate it. So we're going to kick off here, and all of you had an opportunity to, to spend some time with your lawmakers here on Lobby Day. And Sandra, I'm going to start with you and just kind of, what was your takeaway from Leadership Summit Lobby Day this year?
I think my takeaway every year is how important it is for us just to be there, to have our voices heard, how powerful it is. I've realized through the years that our elected officials are, for lack of better terms, maybe bombarded just nonstop by people wanting something. And cancer is something that affects all of us. But if we don't go make our voices be heard and make sure that the issues we care about are at the forefront of those politicians' minds, they go to the back. So it gives me chills to even think about how important it is for each of us to be there to represent our district and the people in our state who've been affected by cancer.
Yeah, no, you are absolutely right. And if we're not going to be, if we're not showing up, we don't have the opportunity to make that impact. So, thank you for being a part of it this year. Beth, I'm gonna turn it to you to kind of what were some of your takeaways from this year?
Some of my takeaways this year is that it seems like almost everybody can get behind cancer research. Cancer research is important for treatment and diagnostics. Clinical trials are an amazing outcome from cancer research. ACS CAN does a really great job of setting us volunteers up with some really good information, like the new blood test that will detect multiple cancers just from a blood test. Jumping on board to get approval for Medicare to cover that right when it's out of the gate is huge. It takes a long time to pass things through legislature. And then, of course, having the subsidies from the Affordable Care Act continue past 2022 is super important for all those people that are on expanded Medicaid so that they can have insurance coverage for cancer and all chronic disease. So those are some of the takeaways. And the other takeaway is, as you mentioned, Representative Meyer is new this year, and building that relationship right out of the gate. Myself and our District 3 lead, Debbie, met with him in his office on March 3rd. And when we met with him last week, he remembered us. So building that relationship is super important right out of the gate.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
Yeah, that's such an important point, Beth, building those relationships with the lawmakers so that your voice, is respected among them is just really important. So, CJ, I'd love to ask you, Andrew and I were just talking about how, this is the second year Lobby Day has been virtual. So, how do you feel that ACS CAN has kind of adapted to that, to that virtual world when it comes to Lobby Day? And, how do you feel like it affected, putting the mission forward this year?
Virtual world. Was there ever really a world before virtual? I guess we all want to get back to that. But I think ACS CAN has really adapted really well with that. They show us and they train us different media outlets for us to use. I think me meeting with my representatives virtual, it showed to them that we did take the time to meet with them, and we took the time to do it in a COVID-friendly, COVID-safe world. And so as a healthcare organization, I think that spoke volumes to our reps.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think it's so important that we practice what we preach as a health organization. Adrian, what about you? How did you enjoy well, I guess you've never done it in person, so.
No, but from what I've heard, I've missed all the running around. So I guess that part's good.
Yeah. Did you feel like did you think the virtual meetings went well and, you were able to get your point across?
Yeah, I think, like CJ said, it made them aware that how important this is to us, that we're willing to meet with them virtually. Like, a pandemic's not going to stop us from getting our points out there. And I think I heard in a meeting that ACS CAN was one of the organizations that didn't stop, where other organizations were trying to figure out how to meet with our legislators and how to do this. We just picked up and ran with it. And I feel like I still got my point across. I've made a relationship with Maggie from Representative Kildee's office, and we're email buddies now. And hopefully I will get to meet with her in person one day. But last year I heard her, talked to her over the phone, like she didn't do the video thing. And this year I got to see her on video. So I'm getting one step closer.
Hey, that's awesome. That's awesome. So, well, and I think that this virtual world, right, has really kind of provided us different stories and kind of different, aspects in terms of what we really remember. And so, Beth, I'm going to go back to you and just kind of talk about, was there a favorite moment or story that you had from Lobby Day this year that really just kind of sticks out in your head?
Yeah, I think I gotta take on the 20-year anniversary of ACS CAN this year. I've been a volunteer since 2012, so not that full time, but just to look at the accomplishments over that first 20 years and the impact that we as volunteers have made in Washington, D.C. over a short period of time.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think that, 20 years of doing this work, I think has truly, truly made an impact in how we've helped cancer patients. And Sandra, how about you? Just kind of any stories from this year or any part of the program that really kind of stuck out to you?
As a cancer survivor, it means a lot to me when I can tell that one of our representatives is taking what we're saying very seriously and has a genuine care for cancer patients and their families. So it meant a lot to me this year when two of our representatives that I was fortunate to meet with, John Molinar and my rep, Jack Bergman, were very, very busy. But Representative Molinar came off the floor just long enough to let us know that he was there for us, that he supported us, he listened to our asks. And Jack Bergman was in meeting after meeting, was a few minutes late, but really wanted us to hold so he could speak with us personally, and is behind the issues that we support and wants to know more and wants to stay in communication and keep these issues at the forefront.
Love that. Well, Andrew, one thing I want to mention really quickly before we ask the next question is all of the folks with us today are actually our media stars in the state of Michigan. So I want to say thank you to all of you. Basically, this means that all of, CJ, Sandra, Adrian, and Beth, who are all with us, are, really great at getting those LTEs placed in local newspapers, which continues to spread, the cancer advocacy mission. So just want to say a quick thank you for that, guys. Michigan actually had the most media stars in the entire country this year for Leadership Summit and Lobby Day. So you are stars.
Absolutely.
Yes. Okay. So, Adrian, I'm just going back to you, and I know you've never been in person, but what do you think? Do you think next year we'll be able to be in person in DC for Lobby Day?
I hope so.
Me too. I've actually never been in person for Lobby Day either, so you're not alone.
We will hook up next year, me and you.
Exactly.
I would love to see the lights of hope around the reflecting pond, like that. Doing it virtually, you still get that impact, but seeing the pictures of it, I guess I just don't get that full impact of being in person. I'm going to understand it more.
Now, CJ, have you been able to see the lights of hope around the mall in person?
Oh, yeah. And if you want to see a 6'1" grown man cry, that's how to do it right there. It is very impactful. Even having meetings in DC is impactful as well. I was fortunate enough to be in virtual meetings with Adrienne and to hear her share her story this year. I never really heard her story before. And when she shared her story, I cried like a baby. And I can just imagine how impactful the personal stories are face to face because you're not behind a computer screen.
Yeah. Wow. Well, the lights of hope around the reflecting pool, I know we've talked about it really quickly, but what are the bags? What do they stand for?
They're people. Each bag represents a person.
Every bag has a face. Every bag has a story.
It's in memory or in honor of anyone who's been told they have cancer. And as a cancer survivor, that's about the time of year that I get the most emotional too.
Mm-hmm.
And I know, I've had the one opportunity to see it as well, and it is, I think, it takes your breath away, right? And it's very touching. But I think as a staff member, right, somebody who works for the American Cancer Society, it really provides a determination, and that there are too many bags. and too many names of loved ones, and just too many. And so it is. You almost feel like you walk on hallowed ground a little bit. I think, and so it is quite the opportunity. And Adrian, I hope to everything in the world that you had the opportunity to experience that and see that next year, and really be a part of that. And so, well, we usually try to end on some type of fun, funky, totally different, out of the world question. And so it's fall, okay? And fall means pumpkin spice time. All right. And the pumpkin spice latte, I felt like came way too early. And I just want you to know I enjoy my pumpkin spice and my pumpkin pie, and that's about it. So, but it just kind of a shout out from everyone here. Who's a big fan of the pumpkin spice latte, and who gets really excited about the pumpkin spice?
That would be me, Sandra.
Yeah.
I had some pumpkin spice coffee today.
All right, Sandra.
Nice.
Caramel apple cider.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Apples. Yep.
Nice.
I like pumpkins and apples, so I'm the best of both worlds.
Yeah. I don't even do pumpkin pie. No.
It's funny. I also call October, at least I call it, to myself, I call it Snickers season, right? Because I have the opportunity to eat the small little Snickers now, and I feel guilty about it.
Right.
The problem is I got to go get more before Halloween. Well, CJ, Beth, Sandra, Adrian, thank you so much for taking some time out of, I know it's a busy schedule, to hop on and be a part of our podcast today and really sharing your experiences from Leadership Summit and Lobby Day. Either way, it's a wonderful thing you all do to be engaged and fight for those that really need a voice. And so thank you so much for all of your activity and your dedication and commitment to our mission, to essentially take those bags off the reflecting pool and make sure that we're not having to deal with a world with cancer again. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, guys.
Yes, thank you. Keep up the good work.
Yes.
We will try.
Couldn't do it without you.
So, well, that does it, Ashley. We have accomplished our October episode. Man, I really hope we have the opportunity to head to DC next year. And I think, you know what, if that's going to happen, maybe we should put a plan together to take the CANdid Connection on the road to have it maybe in the back of the room.
Oh my gosh. That would be so fun. I would love to do that.
We set up for an hour and have people come in and out and do interviews and stuff. It could be a real cool thing.
It's a plan. It's a date. I'm in.
It's a date. I love it. All right. Well, we'll work on that. Well, again, thanks for joining us today. We really appreciate it. Look for us in November, as we'll be kind of taking a look at what's been happening with all the tobacco regulations and where things are going with that. I expect some changes coming up with some of the stuff we talked about. So stay tuned for that in November. And hopefully, let's knock on wood, we'll have a committee date for oral chemo in the Senate. So, again, thank you all for joining us today. Ashley, thanks for being here. Appreciate it. And we'll see you in November.
See you soon.